Welcome everybody to our coverage of the 2021 PDGA Amateur Disc Golf World Championships here in Orlando, Florida, powered by Dynamic Discs and Latitude 64. You are watching MA1 Feature Card Round 1 Back 9 coverage brought to you by us here at BDub Pro. Today's commentary will be provided by myself and my good buddy Grant Zellner from the PDGA. And let's take a look at the scores from the front nine. You can see Evan Scott in the lead, 2 under par. Robert Burridge just 1 stroke behind him at 4 under. Ryan Perkins sitting in 3rd place on the card at 2 under. And Scott Watson holding up the rear at 1 over par. Pretty good start for some of these players. Tough start there for Scott Watson, but he's looking to turn it around here. And here we are at hole 10, a 310-foot par 3. Kicking off our back 9 here. This one is a lot like hole 1 where it's super gettable, and you can even see here you got all of this room for some hyzer action, and even a nice, if you can keep it up in there, you have a nice little crash angle up here towards the basket. See if anyone's going to go for the ace, but at the very least, very birdieable 3.
Yeah, again, the added pressure of feeling like you've got to get it may just take a relatively simple hole and make it a little harder for these guys, but it's not gonna be harder for Robert.
No, putting it up there. Evan looking to do the same, putting a move on the disc and getting it right down there inside birdie range.
Like so many young players, Evan, a relatively fast player, considers his options, thinks through his shots, but makes a decision and goes with it with conviction. It's fun to watch a player play like that.
Scott Watson keeps it a little straight. Wanted to get a little more hyzer on it, but still have a look for birdie here.
Circle's edge look for Scott.
Ooh, a little right.
Just not getting the putter going today.
Great turbo to start off his back 9.
Yeah, Ryan has definitely found the range with that turbo putt. Everybody that saw him in the first 2 or 3 holes and thought, "What? I don't really understand this." Now you know. Now you see why he utilizes that putt to great effectiveness.
Great birdie for Evan.
Good comebacker there for Scott. Just needs to be doing that on the birdie putt instead of the par putt. He's got enough time, definitely, to turn that around and try to generate some momentum here.
Nice tap-in birdie there for Robert. And we're going to move on here to hole 11, 342-foot par 3. Another short guy. This one has a lot more trees that you have to contend with. You can hyzer earlier and kind of hit this gap here that we're flying through, or if you need to, you can stall it out a little farther and have it crash a little harder back to the left. But your options are kind of limited on this one. There doesn't seem to be much on the left side of the fairway for you to go to, and if you end up over there, might have a harder time getting back to the basket. But he's going around that side.
Yeah.
Oh, squeaks through all the way down there at the basket, essentially.
Yeah, sort of going against script with the forehand play there.
Again, Robert, a very confident forehand player.
Evan knew he missed his line the moment the disc left his hand. He'll be looking to save par from that position. Ryan throwing the disc really hard.
He was going for that more outside kind of crashing hyzer, but it got caught up on a tree there about 2/3 of the way down the fairway.
A more direct line here for Scott. Puts himself outside of circle 1, but not an unmakeable look from there.
Evan going to get himself inside the circle for his par look.
Ryan just feathering one close. That's what Scott needed to see right there. A putt of some length that counts as a birdie instead of a par save. That's the kind of shot that he can build momentum on here and a little bit of confidence.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully that's a turning point there for him. Finally getting one of those bigger birdie strokes, and just feeling confident about your game is really key here at these big events. Until Robert is feeling confident.
Mm-hmm.
Big birdie there for.
Yeah, coming off that early bogey, Robert really found something, especially in his putt, and we're seeing the results of that. 6 down with a bogey through just 11 holes.
Yep, and that with Evan taking a par there, that is going to tie him up with Evan leading the card, and maybe even leading the whole division at 6 under.
Yeah, certainly near the top of the division at worst right now. These guys will occasionally go to the PDGA live scoring to get some idea of where they sit. Obviously, though, it's very early. That's not on the top of their minds just yet, but it will be as the week goes on, and they will take advantage of it.
Hole 12, 569-foot par 4. This one is a tougher par 4 with a lot of trees. You got to keep your disc flying straight, and you got to really commit to those gaps to get all the way down the fairway. At least 2 drives, but if you hit a tree, you're looking more like a 5 here.
Yeah, really narrow. A narrow gap off the tee, also sort of a long gap off the tee. We're not talking about just 2 trees at the beginning here. You've got to thread the disc down something of a hallway, and you just saw exactly what that is supposed to look like right there.
And there is a bit of a breeze that rolled in right here towards the later afternoon, and it doesn't look like it's putting too much effect on the disc, but you know that some of these players definitely will take that into consideration.
Evan very happy with his effort right there. Ryan, knowing that you're not going to flirt with an eagle opportunity on this par 4, going with a placement shot, probably wanted a little more out of that, but knew that this forehand roller was going to be an option for him.
Right past that tree.
I don't believe that was unplanned. I think that he knew that forehand roller was something he might want to pull out on this hole, and so he did so.
Big forehand there from Robert Burridge. Gets it down inside the circle. Going to buy himself a birdie look. Nice
Evan,
gentle turn there.
Yeah, making things look easy here. Neither one of those shots, he wasn't asking too much out of either one of those. Don't go for a 400-foot shot when you know 325 will do just fine. And Evan strung 2 similar shots together there. Boy.
He's got them going, and he cannot be stopped at those turbo putts. We've seen a lot of replays for Ryan today once he got those things warmed up. They're just so dang cool.
Wow, yeah. Again, taking advantage of relatively calm, straightforward conditions to be able to go to his, the type of a putt that he is most confident in. And power to him. That's exactly what you need to do.
3 birdies in a row there for Robert Burridge, and 3 birdies in a row for the card there from Scott Watson. And Evan Scott makes it another star frame. That is 2 through 12 holes for us. Moving along to hole 13, 253-foot par 3. This is a very short hole, very gettable hole if you nail the gap here. And you actually want to nail this second gap up here by the basket as well, because if you are off to the right or left in any of these bushes, you kind of take your birdie play out immediately.
Yep, these guys are going to select a disc. They feel like if they hit the first gap, the disc will do the rest of the work for them.
Oh, misses the gap, but it's still cruising. And he gets through all of those trees and has a very long backdoor look there. Oh, looks like Scott is going to be off to the right of the fairway there in the rough.
Evan, again, right out of his hand, knew that he missed the gap.
Ryan gets through the first gap. Oh, and almost makes it through
Almost.
that second one.
Really was going for that play where if you hit the first gap, you'd count on the disc to finish for you. Threw it maybe a little higher than he wanted to. And that made all the difference. So now everybody on one of the shortest holes we've seen on the day scrambling, and I mean really scrambling, just to save par.
Right. Scott's third stroke there, going to buy him a look for a bogey, as does Evan. Robert Burridge for 2.
Takes
Absolutely.
one or more strokes on the rest of his card mates with that circled to make.
Check this out here on this replay. Got those branches kind of in his way. Goes right around him and nails probably a 50-footer to take what's looking like 2 strokes on most of the card, if not the whole card here.
You know, there are players that are really comfortable with a step-through kind of a putt or some other finish ahead of your mark. Of course, when you're outside of circle one, there are players that are really comfortable with that, and there are players that aren't. And I fall in the latter category. I am never really all that comfortable with a jump putt or a step-through putt. I just don't feel like I can do everything else well while taking that extra motion into account. Robert, extremely comfortable with that style of step-through or jump putt, and he is using it to full advantage today.
Right. Hole 14, very short, 214-foot par 3. This is the tightest gap you will see on this course. You really have to thread the needle here, or you are going to be scrambling just like the last hole, a little more open at the basket. It's not kind of like, you know, it's not 3 or 4 feet up off the ground, but still very difficult 3. Really easy to get a 4 here on this short little hole.
These guys going to throw, well, Robert gonna go with something a little bit more unconventional. And I say that, and then Ryan goes with something even more unconventional, going with a forehand roller around the outside.
Great play.
It's going to be just outside circle 2 maybe, but has a chance for a long birdie, or at the very least a makeable par.
Scott really close to shaping that disc down that fairway. Evan going to try to do the same, and a carbon copy of Scott's shot.
Yep, playing a little follow the leader over there.
So here we go again, a 214-foot hole, and all 4 members of our card scrambling to save par.
Nice. So cool.
2 really good scramble shots so far. Evan, you got to get out here. Great little jumper to get out of the bushes there.
Our only realistic chance at birdie going to be a turbo putt from about 45.
Go.
And he nails it. He just, if he's in range for that, he's got it down. Yet again, another replay here for Ryan Perkins.
It's a touch pass to the end zone to a little fullback.
Yep.
You know, running a button hook from the 20-yard line.
Quarterback Ryan Perkins converting on the birdie. Everyone else was able to scramble for some par looks here and able to walk away from this one unscathed.
Disc golf was a sport that nobody knew about when I first started playing. I had to explain it to my parents, my family.
When I first started, I grew up in Ohio playing disc golf and just playing locally.
It was, you know, not as big of a deal. There was never a gallery. There was never video coverage. I've been touring for the last decade and seen this early point in development now to this crazy growth.
Parents can want their kids to play disc golf because there's a future there, there's money, there's professionalism.
I just imagine it just getting bigger and better, and I'm excited to be part of it.
And we are back from commercial break here at hole 15, 229-foot par 3. This is a short guy as well. You want to throw something, you can go forehand or backhand, but you've got this nice little collection of trees right in front of the basket. As long as you can get to the either side of those, you'll have a look at a birdie. But those guys are like a catcher's glove.
Yeah, they sure are. Speed control paramount on this hole. You can choose to throw a faster disc and get some ground play. You can choose to try to arc something slower through the gap, like we see Ryan trying to do right here, and just miss the speed. Speed really, for the first time in a little while, the more important factor than direction.
Almost a little lower, but very
Again,
similar result.
missing the speed.
That one looks a little slow too. 3 in a
Yep.
row.
Just missing the speed. It's a new challenge. You know,
Yep.
you've been focusing on gap, integrity for the last couple of holes. Now this course throws a slightly new challenge at you. And you could see Evan giving that shot a little more, hoping to get her. Oh boy, was he close to getting
Last
around
one.
the exact same obstacle that all three other golfers couldn't navigate. Evan was clearly making an adjustment and trying to do something different and just couldn't quite execute it.
Oh, angle off just a little bit there.
Yeah, Ryan not able to turbo that one in. And Scott just not able to get enough on that putt from that awkward lie.
Ooh, top
Oh.
band. Ryan with a chance to close that gap down between him and Robert. Sorry, Evan with a chance to close that gap down between him and Robert. Solo bird here.
He did earn the least obstructed putt with his adjustment.
Great putt. Great birdie.
Really was.
Gains a stroke on the card. And gains a stroke on the leader here.
I don't have a doubt in my mind that Evan will be a force to be reckoned with as his disc golf career continues. He's got really long levers and a lot of flexibility, as you might expect from a 16-year-old. And his power comes from that. So when he gets stronger, that'll just add to some natural power that he has just by virtue of being a lanky, flexible individual.
Right. Yeah, we see a lot of those younger guys like that on the Pro Tour now. I think of 16-year-old Cole Redolin from Oregon.
No doubt about it.
He's very long levers, very flexible player. Or even guys like Eagle McMahon or Calvin Heimberg. Evan will only lengthen out as he gets older. So I'm excited to see where his career takes him. Real fast. We are here at hole 16, an 852-foot par 5. This is a big one with some guardian trees there at the end. But you have a little more room to play with than the last couple holes here, as you have some wider fairways than we're used to seeing after that collection of tightly wooded holes back there. Ooh, backhand roller.
Yeah, this hole just might provide that eagle opportunity if your distance and placement of the drive works out in your favor. You might find that you have a shape that is achievable with a disc into that green complex. I'm not saying it's highly likely, but it's probably more likely than the other longer holes that we've seen today. That eagle opportunity there. And I think our players know it. You can see they're going for a little bit more than just placement off the tee here.
Oh, and that was very low out of Robert's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Cut rolls him to the right side of the fairway there.
Really giving that a lot of effort, hoping to skip back under that low canopy and see what he has left for an approach or a long eagle bit.
Scott Watson also throws it a little lower than he wanted.
Scott had ceiling issues.
Nice forehand from Evan.
Really
Puts
a
it
good
down
looking
there by
shot.
Ryan.
That's Robert showing that this ceiling is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been lulled to sleep a little bit over the last few holes. No one really flirting with the ceiling. But there you have it. It is low, and it is definitely something that needs to be navigated.
Ryan got to get around those trees to get down there into the green. Or through them if you can.
Yeah, probably missed his line by a tree. But, you know, the way I play often, I pick the tree that I want to miss either side of and figure I'm not good enough to hit it.
Yeah, I definitely feel
And
you
that's
on
not
that
what
one.
Ryan's doing for sure. He's going for a specific gap.
Right.
He's good enough to have to be target oriented. But he's going to take advantage of a rub of the green, as they say there.
Nice birdie from Scott. Gonna finally move him under par.
Mm-hmm.
Par save there from Robert. You could tell he really wanted that birdie there.
Yeah, it feels like he left one out there, for sure. Squeaks the turbo putt over the lip of the basket.
Good birdies there for Ryan and Evan. And we're going to move on to hole 17, our second to last hole here at Lake Hiawatha. 339-foot par 3. Spread out trees. You got a couple different gaps, nothing too tight, but you do have some room out here. It does open up a little bit in the middle here. And then this basket is tucked behind this pretty big oak tree here. I believe these are oaks, right? Right. I think
Spanish oaks?
that sounds right.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I am not an arborist, but Evan gets it down there, and he's going to be just underneath that big old tree and has a look at a birdie there.
Oh, keep going.
Oh, strange kick.
Okay.
Still had some good forward progress, though.
That was supposed to be way left.
Going to the forehand, trying to make sure he hits the gap that he wants to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll take the results as they come for him right there as Robert
Just goes around everything.
tries
Maybe
to go around everything. Not happy with the result, though.
not as much hyzer as he wanted.
No. No, it's difficult to shape shots when you have to both worry about an early gap and some kind of a late finish, like the obstacle that this big, sprawling, spider-like tree presents.
Yeah, you can see Scott has to approach underneath him, or he could have tried to go up and over, but either way, a difficult play to get it in the basket with that big branch in front of you. Ryan.
That's Evan using
knocking
all the
down.
airspace he had.
Yeah, he just barely squeaks underneath that branch and grabs himself a bird and a stroke on Robert to move him into the lead here for the card with one hole left to play.
Notice how the light begins to play a factor. We're in a very dark little spot here, and just feet away, bright sunshine. And that does mess with your depth perception in certain instances. There's no doubt about it. Just another factor that our players have to take into account as they navigate these Central Florida courses.
Last hole of the day here, hole 18, 278-foot par 3. This one is very similar to hole 1 even, and not very far away. But going the opposite direction, you got to get through this gap here, or you could go out around side of either of those trees. There's no mando or anything. But as long as you're out here in the open, you can have a nice, easy birdie look to finish your round.
You definitely want to leave the course feeling good. And that's hard to do if you bogey a hole like this. So these guys feeling like this is another one of those relatively short must-get holes, otherwise you're losing strokes to the guys that you can't afford to lose strokes to, even though this is day one.
Come on.
Really interesting strategy there from Ryan, deciding to go with a forehand roller. Obviously a shot that he has a lot of confidence in, just didn't pay off for him there.
Nice smooth drive from Scott. Didn't even need to watch a touchdown there. He knew he was going to be up close. We had the camera, the T-cam dies right there. And I had to run over. I saw it dying
well done.
from there, so I came to sub him out for this last hole real fast.
Robert switching things up on me. His motion looked like he was planning for another forehand roller, but then instead he goes with the flick around the left side and earns this putt to end his round on a birdie.
Looking to make it 9 down. Very solid performance in the first round here at Worlds from your U.S. amateur champion, Robert Burridge. Great bird. Scott Watson finishing with a birdie and moving to 2 down after staying at par and above par for most of the round.
Gonna feel good about carding 4 birdies on his back 9. Even with that bogey in there, he's gonna go to bed feeling like he can build on that.
Evan finishing 10 down, and Ryan putting a par in to finish 6 under.
Deep breath there from Ryan. Finished the first round of his World Amateur Championship.
Taking a look at the scorecards, you can see Evan Scott 10 under, Robert Burridge just a stroke behind him at 9 under par, Ryan Perkins finishing 6 under, and Scott Watson able to put a decent round together and finish 2 below par. Taking a look at the leaderboard through 18 holes, you can see Ezra Hapner with the hot round at 11 under, Evan Scott in second place, Ricky Ovate and Mitchell Short joining him on lead card in the second round, Robert Burridge down there tied for third. We will not be filming round 2, but we will be coming at you with round 3 coverage of MA1. Make sure to follow the PDGA at PDGA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and make sure to head to PDGA.com and sign up for a PDGA membership and join the party. You can find us at BDub Pro at BDub Pro on Facebook and Instagram, and head to our YouTube channel and hit like on any of our videos, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming BDub Pro content. And that's going to do it for day 1, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for our round 3 coverage.